Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is from a channel called Recollection Road. And this is 13 things from the 1970s kids today will never understand. And I don't know, something to Emmy was just kind of like, let's go back in time for a second. Let's go back to the 70s. Let's see what life was like then and compare it to life today. So, with that being said, what's smoking on my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. Original link in the description if I didn't say that already. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and hop into this and see what it's like in the decade my parents were born. So, here we go.
There are some things that are unique to the decade that we grew up in. The 1970s was no different, having a distinct style that is easily recognizable, even to newer generations. But aside from the obvious disco and bell-bottom trends, there were more minute details that people living during that time will easily recognize. So here are 13 things from the 1970s that kids today would never understand. Options for watching TV were very different during the 1970s. For one, there were really only 3 TV channels plus public broadcasting. That's right, just 3.
Hold on. Let me clear my throat. 3 TV channels. Compare that to today, where you have, uh, where do I start? You got like the basic channels, then you got all these add-ons. Then nowadays you got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Peacock, you got Amazon Prime, you got like YouTube Plus, YouTube, you got whoa. Compared to just 3 channels, that just blew me away immediately. Immediately, just 3 channels. Whoa,
No streaming services, no endless options. You'd also have to get up
crazy.
and manually turn the dial to change channels. It was a time in which we waited for our favorite shows, which included nightly shows that were popular and Saturday morning cartoons. It was a big deal when you could pour a big bowl of cereal and binge hours of your favorite animated shows. But with the limited options on the television, it's no wonder kids spent so much time outside. Well, that and the fact that some parents made their kids go outside and play.
And that's one big thing that's missing today. Where I live at in PA, I gotta be honest, I don't really see much people outside. Most people are in their cars, and even as I think now, I don't even see much kids playing outside. Um, New York, where I'm from, even upstate New York, you see people outside. A lot more. Like you see them outside. Like I grew up where we playing street hockey. I grew up where we playing basketball in the street. We football and meeting up on the field. Like I grew up where we hiking and just doing wild stuff by the Susquehanna River, slipping, falling in, bumping our heads, all type of stuff. So hey, building forts behind Kmart in the wood. Yeah, we did that.
During the 70s, making a mixtape was an art form. It took patience and dedication to sit by the radio for hours, waiting for the right song to be played. It didn't matter how good your timing was either, because pushing down the play and record buttons at precisely the right time still sometimes had the DJ talking over the intro. And that was just part of the charm. Cassettes had their quirks too, like when they got tangled, and you would have to use a pencil to wind them back in. Cassettes made it pretty easy to create what we know today as a playlist, and this was the first time we could listen anywhere we wanted.
Wow.
Did you ever run around the house and pretend you were Superman or Batman? Well, if you did during the 1970s, then you most likely had on a pair of superhero underoos. For many kids, they served a dual purpose. They were underwear and part of a costume when you were strutting around the house, feeling invincible. Superhero underoos were more than just clothing. They were your identity, especially the ones that matched the actual superhero outfits. Nowadays, kids can never appreciate their underwear in the same way. Recollection Road is proud to partner with Life Story Pro. Watch until the end of this video to learn more about preserving your loved one's stories in a beautifully printed book, which makes the perfect gift. Visit lifestorypro.com/recollection to get started. During the 1970s, record stores were not just places to buy music. They were social gathering spots. Just like the mall of the 1980s, young people would hang out with friends, browse through vinyl records, and even listen to albums before they purchased them. Store employees at this time were also music enthusiasts, and they would recommend hidden gems. It also wasn't uncommon for you to strike up a conversation with a stranger who was into the same music as you. So the local record store was a special place, and yet another experience that is hard to replicate today.
If you come across this video, how many of y'all met great friends in record stores back in the 70s? Please let me know in the comments. Let me hear some real... I'm doing this for them 70s kids out there. Even 80s, right? Pretty much everything before the, things really boomed with technology the way it is today. Even though technology has its, it has its cons, it has its pros. But let me hear some solid, real good stories. If you come across this video, please, in the comments, let me know some good, great memories. I want to know, who did you meet in that record store? Come on, man. It's nothing better than hearing those memories from me personally. That's why I love being on YouTube, connecting with people.
Who's coming in the driveway?
Connecting with people and really hearing their stories. I think it's awesome. That's the pro to the technology nowadays. You can connect with people all around the world.
Store was a special place, and yet another experience that is hard to replicate today. Hitchhiking during the 1970s was surprisingly easy and acceptable.
That's
it was
crazy.
very common to see people thumbing a ride on the side of the road.
Hold on.
Drivers would often...
Hold on. That's crazy. Seriously, that's crazy work. I have to say, obviously serial killers comes to mind. Without them having the devices and the technology they have today, it makes you wonder how many serial killers back in the 70s got away with some things. No, seriously, I seen, there was was it in Colorado? Somewhere over there was this girl, this lady who was saying her dad was a serial killer or something, and I think they might have found bones or when they dug. I gotta look back into it, but this was dangerous.
Not hesitate to pick up hitchhikers, and it was seen as a way to help out a fellow traveler. There was more of a sense of camaraderie on the open road back then, and that's hard to understand in today's world. But it wasn't without risk, and there was still a chance you might encounter a few weirdos, and that was just part of the fun. Nowadays, it's illegal to hitch free rides in many places, but back then, it wasn't unusual to find a service member, a student, or even a hippie thumbing for a ride. When you think back to the 1970s, men had some serious style. They had manly mustaches, sideburns, big hair, and that distinct aroma of aftershave wafting around them. It was all about the macho look, and men took their grooming pretty seriously. This was also coupled with some pretty bold choices in clothing too, and as long as you could leave a couple of buttons undone so you could show off your hairy chest, you were good to go. Nothing quite matches the swagger men had in the 1970s. And speaking of grooming, ladies too had their own unique products to give them that 1970s look. Sun-In was all the rage, promising sun-kissed highlights. Women would spray it into their hair and head outside hoping for those perfect golden locks. And who doesn't remember the smell of Love's Baby Soft, a signature scent from the 1970s? The sweet, youthful fragrance was a defining smell that had all the girls wearing Baby Soft. But I'm not sure the ad campaign would fly today. When the telephone that hung in the kitchen rang, it was always answered. This was before caller ID, so people had no idea who was calling. Can you imagine? You didn't know if it was your best friend or a sales call, which meant...
I was about to say that. No, I can't imagine that. I still remember being young, though, when having caller ID was that was the thing to have. Because we were so used to house phones, early 2000s. I'm a kid. I was in kindergarten in 99. 1999, 2000. So I still remember like just regular house phones all the time. And then when you hear about, oh, you got caller ID, or when we started getting caller ID, it was like that was like the new thing. That's crazy. And now we got these cell phones where you can't imagine someone just calling you and you don't know who it is. Like that's like to even think that there was a world with no caller ID. Whoa.
There was a chance that you might recognize the voice on the other end and spend some time getting twisted up in the phone cord while you talked. Or you might be yelling across the house to let someone else know the call was for them. Today's kids might find it unbelievable that we willingly picked up the phone without the slightest clue as to who was on the other end.
No, guys, this is really crazy. From a millennial, this is crazy. This is crazy. Just sitting on the ground like that on the phone, like you don't know who it is. You just answer it. Oh, that's crazy. Crazy times. Crazy times. What?
To best capture the moments in the 1970s, you absolutely needed a Polaroid camera. The idea of hitting the button and instantly getting a picture developed was gratifying, but you had to be selective because each roll of film only had a certain number of pictures. And then there was the practice of shaking the picture to help it develop faster, which was just a myth. But you couldn't take the bulky Polaroid camera with you everywhere, so there were also photo booths that were strategically placed where teenagers congregated. Places like arcades, malls, and roller rinks were ideal, so best...
The photo booths never died. You know, they still in the malls, but what, to not be able, oh my. No, I'm just really sitting here taking it all in. Like, we do live in the future. This is crazy. And I obviously wasn't even alive in the 70s. I wasn't even alive in the 80s. Wasn't alive till 1993. But just hear me out. Like, to even just imagining, you know, I'm a big fan of 80s movies, just older movies, period. Like back to Wizard of Oz, 1939 or whatever. But like to imagine, okay, looking at Back to the Future. I remember growing up when we watched Back to the Future, we'd be like, 2015? Yes, that's the future. Like 2015 flying cars. Obviously, I mean, we do have flying cars that, you know, they're out there, like not, you know, they're made. But I do believe that time's coming too. It's just, it's crazy. Like we're really in the future now. Wow, wow, wow. That's why I like watching movies from back in the day when they talk about times, even before now. Like I said, 2015, like this is it. We're here.
Best friends and couples could capture the day with a series of goofy and fun pictures. If you were to step back in time and visit a 1970s kitchen, you'd probably find a fair share of mushroom-themed decor. Mushroom plates, mushroom curtains, mushroom wallpaper. They were everywhere. Everything back then seemed to have an earthy aesthetic, and mushrooms must have been the perfect fungus to represent that style. I guess you'd call it charm, and every corner of the room seemed to be inspired by it.
I love it.
As you waited for the weekend and that special morning of cartoons, you also needed a sugary cereal to help you enjoy it. The 1970s was all about finding the best surprise toy inside the cereal box. Kids would beg their parents for a certain brand of cereal, not because of the taste, but because of the toy. It may have been a silly game or a small figurine, but it was like finding a treasure when you dug down to the bottom of the box and pulled out the prize. This excitement made morning cereal more than just breakfast, which is much different than today.
For us, it was Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings where we'd watch like cartoons, and this is back like Pokemon, Digimon, and all that type of stuff. I do remember cereal being more of a bigger thing. Dang, man. Sometimes we just gotta sit back and remember. Sometimes we seriously, especially so much going on today, so much drama, so obviously in every area. I just wanted to bring something a little more positive, like, or just something to really make people go smile real quick and remember. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, I'm thinking of a lot. Let me play the video.
Opening a beer or soda can in the 1970s was a bit different than what we are used to today. You'd pull the ring back and peel back the aluminum tab. And back then, most of the tabs were just tossed on the ground. These sharp pieces of discarded metal were a nuisance, especially on beaches or places where you might walk barefoot. These pull tabs were just another hazard that we faced, and the tops would change shortly after to the more familiar stay tab that we recognize today. But it was still all part of the fun of living in the 1970s. Last but not least, school lunch in the 1970s wasn't complete without a trusty metal lunchbox and the matching thermos. These lunchboxes not only showed off our favorite characters from pop culture, but they often also had their fair share of rust on them too.
BG lunch boxes, really? That's how y'all was doing it? Okay.
Or scratch would quickly rust over, and our parents didn't seem to mind either. Remember the smell of opening a metal lunchbox after a long, hot day? Kids today, with their ice packs and insulated lunch bags, will never fully understand what it was like to grow up in the 1970s.
I'll admit, I don't. That's awesome, though. Like, it just seems like you had to put in more effort with everything. Even, like, being a man or grooming yourself and the style, it was, it was just more effort. Everybody was putting more effort because everything wasn't so easily accessible. Everything wasn't so instant. Like today, everything wasn't so snap your fingers and it's done, or press a button and it's done. You had to put in a lot more effort. And, man, even with kids, with them lunch boxes, man, what? So that Bee Gees must have been. I wonder if anybody watching this, let me know what kind of lunchbox you had.
After a long, hot day, kids today, with their ice packs and insulated lunch bags, will never fully understand what it was like to grow up in the 1970s.
That was awesome.
Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to sign up for the Recollection Road newsletter using the link in the description. Recollection Road is all about looking back on our past, and many of these memories begin with our family. Your loved ones have lived a life full of stories to tell, so why not preserve them by using Life Story Pro to help create a beautifully printed color book about their life? The process is as simple as replying to an email. Life Story Pro guides you through the process of capturing written memories and adding photos to create your book. It's really that easy. This makes the perfect gift, too, because it's really a gift of a lifetime of memories.
Oh, that's looking like a nice Mother's Day present right there. Hold on.
Go to lifestorypro.com/recollection and get started today. Life Story Pro is the easiest way to preserve these wonderful stories for future generations. Don't wait. Visit lifestorypro.com/recollection to create your beautifully printed life story.
Oh, they're doing a beautiful thing there with that. I see a lot of ads in that one. Yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to looking into. Like I said, that seems like a real nice Mother's Day present right there. Father's Day, or just a gift to a loved one. But guys, whoa, that was an awesome video. It just makes me smile, like to just think of a time where I just feel like people get more like. Okay, let me get my thoughts together, because I'm starting to think about pros and cons now. I was gonna say it seems like people were more connected back then. In the 70s, I want to say that, at least more hands. But then I think about today and how much technology does get people to learn about each other's cultures, and people set up more events through technology nowadays, and they're able to just really learn each other, which can also be more dangerous. But because people do get obsessed online, and then there's also a lot of false images that are portrayed online, and people end up falling with this false version of people, and then you meet them in real life and it'd be weird. So there's that aspect of it, kind of like a catfish thing too. But in the 70s, it was like, it seems more of a more authentic way of meeting people and building that bond. Like, okay, you live across the street, and all the kids play at this certain time, and it's like you get to know somebody that way. It felt like you get to know immediately, like, okay, if you like this person or not. Like, it's not just going online and meeting them, or coming across their profile and becoming obsessed. But then back then, it would have been a little hard. It would have been harder to see how people really feel about you. Because nowadays you got people who, like, they'll go online and they'll, say something about their friend, and call, and then people are looking, it's just weird. A lot of weird energy online. So definitely has its pros and cons, but respect to the 1970s. I would say my favorite thing about this video. What was my favorite thing about this video? Let's see. I want to say. Uh, Honestly, I loved everything about it. I did. Dang, but if I had to say my favorite, I would say I did like the lunch boxes. Dang, it's hard. That's when you know it's a good video. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick a favorite. It's crazy to see how back then, like I said, more effort. You had to really take a picture. Nowadays, you can get the most cinematic look off of an iPhone, and just everything does the work for you nowadays. You don't need all that extra stuff. You just don't. Well, we're good. Doop. Get a little tripod for the phone, set it up. Doop. Motion sensor tripods. You don't even need no one to hold it for you. So it's like you don't have to put in all that effort. Back then, in the 1970s, if I had to really, it just effort, like effort in the style, effort into everything. And nowadays, yeah, of course, you're still putting your effort, but you don't have to go. I want to say it's more like a work smarter, not harder thing nowadays. If you catch my drift, and that's not the disrespects. Like I said, shout out to the 70s. It seems like a very awesome time. But with that being said, have you ever hitchhiked? I need to know. Original link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, definitely don't hesitate to hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. And once again, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing those stories because, yeah, this was awesome. Much love.